Good morning, everyone. Thank you for showing up again today. If you would, if there's anyone in the audience that is going to testify today, would you please step out in the lobby and let the police officer take you back to where you were yesterday? And also, if you have a cell phone, please make sure that it is off. And also, Lieutenant Kennedy, just a reminder that you are still under oath.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, I'm going to start with a little bit of what I call house cleaning. Said this was a AI 25-04, covered the whole weekend, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that it started broad and then narrowed in.
Yes.
I can approach that witness. Will collectively be four of them, certified copies of ordinances. That one, will you identify what that says it's a certified copy of?
A copy of Ordinance A518. No, I'm not.
Thank you. That is certified. What's the topic of that ordinance?
An ordinance regulating activity on and in Conway parks, establishing penalties for the violation of these regulations, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
And if I can have that back just a moment. I'm going to direct your attention to the very last page. What date is on there as to the enacting date?
May 25th, 1971.
The next certified copy,
Ordinance, I don't know if that's a 0 or an O,
can't tell you that one. I'm going to assume it's
Okay.
an O for ordinance.
81-04.
If you'll read that topic.
An ordinance amending section 12.08.03 in parentheses B of the Conway Municipal Code declaring, I think that's supposed to say an emergency, and for other purposes. Want me to read more or?
Yes, sir, I can direct you to that.
Okay, thank you.
In where it says B, right under that, it says what?
No person, group, association, or organization shall use any of the pavilion facilities located in any of the parks of the city of Conway unless said person, group, association, or organization shall have obtained a reservation and paid a fee of $5 for the use thereof through the Parks and Recreation Department.
And what was the enacting date on that?
27th of January, 1981.
The third one is also certified. What's the topic of that ordinance?
This is ordinance O-12-62. It's an ordinance establishing and amending rules and regulations for parks and park facilities in the city of Conway and for other purposes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You want to see what Parks got amended there?
Yeah, I'll look. I apologize, it's my first time looking at this, so I'll skim it. The city seeks general policies. It establishes quiet hours are between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. No person shall stay after the quiet hours. Their special written permission will be limited to no more than 2 consecutive nights. Usage of the Expo Center RV Park is restricted to city events. Prohibited to offer for sale any food, drink, merchandise. Is there a certain portion I'm looking for?
Main thing is, we didn't change anything in relation to the parks or paying a fee, correct?
I do not see in here where it's referenced that there's any changes to the $5 fee. And this was signed, or the certificate is dated the 31st of July, 2012.
Thank you very much. The last one, will you please read what the ordinance number is?
Yes, it's O-22-16. That's an ordinance amending 12-52, which I believe was the first one. Is that correct?
No, sir.
It's not, okay. And the event permit application for special events to be held on City of Conway property and utilize city personnel resources, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Enacted when?
January 27th of 2022.
Your Honor, I'd ask that those be introduced at this time as our number 2 in your notebook.
Mr. Chairman, I have to object to admission of those documents. And the reason I have to object to the admission of those documents is because they have to do with pavilion rentals. Can you rent a pavilion? What forms you have to fill out to rent a pavilion? Can you hold an event in a park? What you have to do to hold an event in a park? What people can do in parks? Ordinances related to that. This all goes to my large motion in limine that I filed earlier with the commission, and it's that none of that information is relevant, right? What we're dealing with, as y'all all know, as y'all have heard extensive testimony on, is Ms. Bird's response after the shots were fired. What they're getting into is the actions of the partygoers previously, whether they had a permit for a pavilion, whether they had a permit to have an event in the park, and that has nothing to do with Ms. Bird's response. Whether we like it or not, that mass shooting occurred, and it is how Ms. Bird responded to that, which is the purpose of this appeal and the purpose of what this commission is reviewing before us. If we start going into park permits, pavilion permits, it's going to last a lot longer than it needs to, and it's going to confuse the issues.
Your Honor, my response to that, I'll come to the podium. As the court's aware and counsel here has heard, this was an open AI investigation. He said, I let the investigation narrow itself, which means he was talking about the entire department over a 2-day period. Number one, if we're talking about did we identify anything that we need to train more on or any procedures we need to do, his answer was we didn't identify anything for any changes. The only thing that they identified was what you're here on in relation to Officer Byrd. They opened the door when they asked those questions. Not to mention, I think the door should already have been open, Judge, because we're talking about an open investigation. This will not prolong. I just covered what I needed to with these, and we could move on to the ordinances. I have maybe 2 questions in relation to that, and I'll move on to my next topic.
Do you have a response?
I understand that Ms. Bird was stating that this was an open AI investigation. It was. And as we know, ultimately, it turned into Ms. Bird, the former police officer, being the subject of that investigation. I understand that. But Ms. Bird appealed her termination. right, based on that. She did not appeal and would not have standing to appeal the entire AI investigation. The only part is that part related to her. That's what she has appealed. This is not a referendum on how the Conway Police Department responded on that day, how they handled parties before, whether people had permits. Ms. Byrd is only able to appeal her termination. That termination was related to the actions she took. An open AI investigation, yes, but this appeal is based on Ms. Byrd's termination.
One brief follow-up, ma'am, in relation to her comment. At no time did Officer Byrd ever get one of those forms that now identifies her as a subject and narrows. That form is open-ended. That's been introduced into evidence. I do believe it is a topic of conversation.
I think we do probably need to hear a little bit more of this, but just as long as it's not real lengthy or anything that
Yes, sir.
bring up is a little, I mean, so we can move on.
Yes, sir. Officer, did you ever look up those ordinances?
Absolutely not.
And in relation to our open AI investigation, would it not be important to know what actions we took prior to any party?
Actions of police personnel, yes, in relation to those ordinances, the $5 permit fee. No, I'm not going to look into that. The $5 fee, I'm not going to look into.
When you're reading an ordinance and it says shall, what does that mean?
Shall is a very powerful word in the legal language that means that you will. It also means that every officer out there then I guess should have asked for that permit, which would mean, did Officer Byrd also ask for that permit? So if we're going to,
No, let's pause a moment.
sure.
The questions that I have are, you're investigating an AI.
Yes, ma'am.
You said at the end of your direct that you didn't identify any other practices that law enforcement at Conway PD needed to do different. No policies needed changes, and we didn't need any training. Is that correct?
That's not correct. The personnel that identified any training deficiencies or policy changes is actually command staff. I present the stuff. I don't get a vote in there, and I don't get to tell them what I believe on any of this. I just present this is what happened. So I didn't make that statement.
Well, let me rephrase that then.
Yes, ma'am.
Your statement yesterday was command didn't note any policy changes needed or any training needed.
That's correct.
Commission, I'm going to draw your attention to what is noted as number 33 in your packet. Officer, yesterday you were talking about you tried to replicate, reproduce on the dash cam, body cam, a trigger message,
Yes,
and you were unable to do so.
that's correct.
Are you telling this commission it didn't show any message?
I could never get it to show a message.
I'm going to show you what we've noted as number 33, which is a picture of dash cam from one of your units.
Yes.
Would you please read that message?
It says, the message on the screen says the trigger that started the current recording is no longer active. If you want to stop this recording, press the stop button, and then there's an option to select an OK symbol on the screen.
Thank you, sir. Ask that those be admitted into evidence at this time as number 33.
The only objection I have to that is I don't know where those came from. I don't know who created those. I don't know what unit they came from. And I think it's important that they lay a basis, a foundation for this is who created this. This is where we got this photograph. We have none of that. It's just a photograph with a pop-up. So I would like for her to lay some additional foundation, and she may need to do it with a different witness.
No problem. I'll do that if we'll just go ahead and note that. And at this point, I'll follow that up with a different officer. Officer, you said that at the time you had pulled some GPS, That's when, right before that is when you had started to look or narrow at Officer Byrd and Officer Riddle, correct?
I want to make sure we get the order correct. I was at the end of the investigation. I was approached by 2 other supervisors that specifically stated that Miss Byrd had taken an alternate route, and there was some complaints about that. And so I asked for the GPS coordinates for Miss Byrd. And then after receiving those and reviewing those, and then looking at camera footage from Officer Riddle's vehicle, I then got the GPS coordinates for any available units for that day from 1936 to
Let-
1956.
Let me back that up then.
Yes, ma'am.
This is my first page of notes. You barely started. AI started, they steered themselves, started broad, started to look at a couple, Byrd, Riddle. Is that correct information? Is that what you said?
Yes,
And you said Byrd had 2 parts. One had to do with, I'm going to say, I wrote it down, rumblings. Who were the individuals who said, hey, we want you to look at Byrd?
I have no idea. I was told by Sergeant Westbecker and Sergeant Myers.
And they didn't tell you any other information, just, hey, look at Byrd.
That's correct.
Now, at that point, you'd already looked at dash cam, right?
Yes,
You were aware that, as you put it, she did great Saturday.
yes.
She did great Sunday. When we didn't
The
have
portions
any,
of Sunday, yes.
and we did not have any information in relation to the dash stuff. You hadn't begun to narrow there.
Correct.
Officer, whose responsibility is it to make sure that dash cam and body cam get attached to a case?
The officer that's in that vehicle,
And
the supervisors,
the supervisors, meaning their direct supervisor being a sergeant or whoever else is in charge of
it could be a
the
sergeant, it could be a lieutenant, just whoever's working the shift, depends who's on duty.
who's in control of the investigation?
The detective that's in control of that is going to look for that stuff. If things aren't attached, then there are times where detectives will attach them if patrol does not.
How quickly did this conversation with Sergeant Westbecker occur?
What do you mean, how quickly?
When was it?
It would have been just before April 28th, 2025. I can't give you an exact date or time. It's not something I wrote down.
And now part of what we do as investigators is we write down everything we do, correct?
We write down a lot.
Dates, times, who we talk to, phone numbers, the information they give us.
Yes,
Be clear then, you said that it happened before April 20th,
28th,
28th?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. When did you request the GPS for Officer Byrd?
April 28th, 2025.
Who identified that something needed to be changed in relation to Officer Byrd's GPS times?
Are you talking in relation to like the radio, audio, and all that?
Yeah, let me put it a different way.
Okay.
You said that you requested GPS of all officers for 1936 hours to 1956 hours, correct?
That's correct.
Whose information got changed so that it was reflected 1936 to 1956?
I don't understand this question. What do you mean change it?
We
I don't-
received information that were GPS coordinates. Officer Byrd's show a time of between 1936 and 1956.
Correct.
No one else's does.
I understand.
Who decided that Officer Byrd's needed to be changed so that it would show 1936 to 1956?
Nothing was changed. I asked for times, and that's what I was given by dispatch.
Did you tell them, you were very specific, I asked for a time frame of 1936 to 1956?
Yes.
Did Mr. Edwards come back and say, I don't have anything for that time frame?
No, he did not say that.
And so what information did he give you?
He gave me a thumb drive with the information on it that I asked for.
For Officer Byrd?
Yes,
So you're saying Officer Byrd's information was not changed in relation to the time?
no. How I received it is exactly how I put it into my computer on a thumb drive, and I double-clicked the icon to open that. It auto-populated into Google Earth Pro, and I had my data sets.
All right, now you said yesterday something got pulled and changed to UTC time.
Okay, that's not me. That would be dispatch. And UTC time, which is 5 hours different than Central Standard Time, there's no difference in the time here. It's just how it's being displayed.
Whose time was changed? You said it was pulled and changed to UTC time. Who did that action? Do you know?
It was either Sean Kennedy, the director of EOC, or it was Deputy Director Brian Edwards. They are the two people that are able to pull that data. And I went up there and met with both of them and was given the rest of the data. This is honestly a question you need to ask them. All I can say is that the times are the same times. They're just a different time zone, how they're presented. That's it.
UTC time is ahead of Central, correct?
You have to add 5 hours to get to Central Time.
And during the time change, it's 6 hours ahead, right?
I believe so.
And can we agree that between 14 and 1900, there's 5 hours difference?
Yes,
Do you know if that time was changed manually or how it's done?
I can't answer that.
But you're telling us and the commission, you didn't change anything in relation to any time.
I'll say it as clear as I can. I made no changes to this information received. I got it on a thumb drive, I put it in my computer, and I opened the document. I can't explain how it gets to UTC time or Central Time.
Okay.
I don't know how else to answer that question, but I'll be clear for you. I can't change anything on there. I don't have the ability to do that.
Do you know how the conversion to or from UTC time is done?
Are you talking about within the
This is-
program?
Yes, this is your data, right? In effect, this is a investigation being done by a police department.
That's correct.
When we're looking at anything in changing a setting or a time or anything else, we need to document that. Can we agree on that?
Okay, if I didn't change anything, so there's nothing for me to document. And I'll just,
Let
if
me
I
pause
could,
a
if I could
moment.
have a
Pause.
little bit.
This is my questioning.
Yes, ma'am.
It needs a simple yes or no in relation to this particular question. Do you know whether or not the conversion is a program that they use outside of the system?
I do not know.
Do you know if it's a setting within the system?
I do not know.
Do you know if it's an app?
I do not know.
Do you know whether it was manually changed?
I do not know.
You don't know who did the conversion either, correct?
That's correct. I can narrow it down to 2 people, and I've provided those names.
And in relation to converting, why convert any of them at all? Why not leave it like it is?
I didn't convert anything.
We can agree somebody did.
Somebody provided me with some information in UTC time and the rest of the information in Central Standard Time.
And now yesterday you said it was pulled and changed to UCT time. I think this is a simple question. Do you know whether or not somebody changed? Why convert them at all?
Question has been asked and answered. She has asked numerous times.
I'm sorry,
Did-
can you
Yep.
speak? Thank you.
This question has been asked and answered. She has asked numerous times, did you change it? His answer consistently, no. Do you know if someone changed it? His answer consistently, no. And she keeps asking it in various forms or fashions, and it has been asked and it has been answered, and I ask that we move on.
Your Honor, I would say that I have asked different questions and I have not received an answer in relation to this most recent one, which is why change or convert anything from UTC or to Central or vice versa?
To that point, well, overruled.
Thank you. If you'll please answer the question, sir.
So here's the best I can explain it. when we ask for phone records from phone companies, we use the same Google Earth Pro program, and it puts the same dots or images on the mapping system, okay? When we request that, one of the options we have with the phone companies is to select what time zone we want it in. And so we're able to select Central Time Zone.
But I'm going to pause just a moment. We're not discussing radio, we're not discussing phone, we're talking about GPS. This is a closed system, correct?
Yes.
Why did this data need to be changed at all to any other time?
I'm trying to answer the last question, and I can get there, but it's going to take me, I've got to lay a little bit of a foundation as to how we get there.
I don't want to talk about other systems. Why change this time to a different time?
I did not change anything. I can't answer this any clearer.
Okay. We'll move on. In relation to this request, you narrowed it because you had two sergeants say, hey, look at Bird.
Yes,
So it's a request, not the AI steering itself, correct?
I received information involving part of that weekend. I don't know what
Let me put it a
what
different
we're
way.
going to
You
call
just
it.
testified that these officers, you didn't know what was told to them.
Mhm.
They simply said, hey, look at Bird, right?
They said, look at her response route.
Can we agree then that this became a targeted investigation at that point?
I won't agree to the word targeted. I will agree that I then had one person to look at and one aspect of it, which was just her response. And I looked at that
So
and
yesterday when you
continued.
said you started to look at a couple, Bird and Riddle, that was not true, correct? You just looked at Bird.
Again, I've explained this, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. I've answered this question. I've explained the process of how I got to Bird, how I got to Riddle. I've answered this at least 3 times now. I don't know how else to answer this.
I disagree that you've answered it. I think that you've given us different responses.
Okay.
We talked a lot about route yesterday and speed in relation to Officer Bird.
Yes.
Well, before I get there, you pulled GPS for Officer Bird on 429, correct?
428,
Well, you requested it 428, you saved it on your thumb drive 429.
I believe so.
So within a 2-week time frame, you're now zoned in on one person, correct?
I'll say yes to that because at that time I only had information on Officer Bird and it led to Officer Riddle later.
And the other officers that you pulled was on 512.
I was 5'11",
Okay, your request was on 511.
Yes.
It's given to you and saved on 512.
correct.
And we agree then that at that point, that was just for show?
No, I would not agree with that at all.
You weren't looking at those officers, though?
I was absolutely looking at them, and that's why I got their speed data, and that's why I brought up in command staff that there were several of them that were speeding without lights and sirens on. So I absolutely looked at all of the data I had on all of them.
So when you said you narrowed it and started to look at Bird, you actually mean, no, I had other people in mind also.
No, I did not.
So it is just Bird. Let's move to route. We talked about the route. What alternative route did you think she should have taken?
3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue. She could have tried to go down 5th. I will agree it was clogged, but those were the 3 other options.
All right. First off, we knew 5th is really not an option, right?
5th was clogged.
So let's move on. We get to 3rd. We've got a parking lot that's right here on 6th Street, correct?
Yes,
We can see on Riddle's, as he's pulling up 5th, we got people pulling out. We got people in this parking lot on the street that are all going, is that south?
that's west.
Okay, thank you. If we're going on East 6 toward First Avenue, that's the direction all these people are trying to leave and go.
Yes, that's the only way they can go is west.
3rd Street is option 1.
3rd Avenue, yes.
Thank you for correcting me. I can't keep that in my head. I should look at the map. 3rd Avenue. The Second Avenue has a lot of stop signs, correct?
I don't know.
Okay. And in relation to First Ave, that's more of a bigger street. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
When we're talking about the difference between, say, Third Ave and First Ave, the difference is only the time, can we agree, that it took to go from on 6th Street between 3rd and 1st at two different locations?
Yes.
Are you aware it took her 11 seconds to drive that distance?
I haven't calculated that.
Just a moment. Show you. Already been introduced, Officer Riddle, so that we can look at the other traffic that's on the road, not just Officer Riddle's response. Yes, please. Thank you. Officer, part of what you talked about yesterday, can we agree first off in relation to these events? This shooting has just happened,
Yes.
but people are already trying to get to their cars and leave.
Yes.
And we see a lot of cars both on 6th Street in that parking lot and on, this is 5th, correct?
Yes.
And you stated yesterday that you, in relation to Bird's truthfulness, that you were looking at the suspect issue as to whether she was following or trying to look for a suspect in relation to following Officer Riddle, correct?
Yes.
Now, you did watch the videos and the dash cams and the body cams for both of these officers later, right?
Yes.
And isn't it true that multiple times on dash body cams during the course of that night, while it's still fresh in their mind, that Officer Byrd says, "I thought we were chasing somebody"?
I don't recall that portion, and here's
That's
why.
okay. You don't have to do live. Would you please play that? Oh, no.
Who was the unit that sped off that way? Like right as I was pulling out of the parking lot over there. I was running code that way, and there was a car that was like speeding, so I thought they were chasing like the suspect.
No, that me. I went that way, this way because you said it was on Fifth Ave.
Oh.
And then when I came through, I saw that dude. But
Okay, well, I went down that, I guess it was behind me. I went down that way, I thought that we were chasing. No, I thought we were chasing somebody.
Thank you. We can stop that. We've refreshed your memory. That's from that night, correct?
It is.
What Bird told you in her interview was truthful information, correct?
And what part of the interview? Like, can you narrow it down
Officer?
for me?
Very clearly, she said, I thought when I pulled out, we were chasing a suspect, correct?
She said there was a trailer with barricades. She had to hop over a curb. She saw a unit running code. There was radio traffic from Pew that identified something with gold rims, and she got behind the unit. That's what I recall from that.
And when you kept pressing her, she said, look, when I pulled out, I thought I was chasing a bad guy.
It would be easier, I think, to let's just play the interview. It would help me refresh my memory, and I think it would be a lot easier for us to just watch that and see. Let's just see what was said in it, and that way there's no guessing. We'll just watch
You know
the
what?
video if that's okay.
Here's the thing. It's been, what, a month and a half
Yes.
since you've done since you've done all the interviews?
Yes.
Since the time frame of the incident, and that you can't remember. What do you think it was like for Officer Byrd when she immediately gets put under Garrity, can't talk about it? A major event has occurred, as you put it, worst we've ever seen. Haven't been involved in something like that before. But you expected her to remember?
Ms. Byrd is asking Lieutenant Kennedy to speculate as to what Ms. Byrd was thinking when she was going through this investigation. He wasn't in her mind. He can't testify to what she was thinking, and that's what Counselor Byrd is asking him to testify to.
Phrase it a different way. You can't remember today, and it's been a month, correct? A little over a month.
Yes.
When you had your interview with Officer Byrd, it wasn't even a month, correct?
I'd have to look at the dates.
Okay. The second one was on 5/12.
Okay.
This event happened
On the
4/13.
13th, so it was 1 day shy of a month.
You expected her to remember and tell you. Is that correct?
I think there's a difference when you live something versus asking hundreds of questions to many, many people. I think it's different when you live it. You recall it much easier.
It was a simple question. You expected her to remember
Yes.
that. Emergency equipment. Not everyone ran lights and sirens, correct?
That's correct.
And doesn't the policy actually say that it's discretionary in the officer based on the circumstances they find themselves?
I don't know if it says that word for word. That sounds familiar and that sounds reasonable.
Yesterday, indirect, you started talking about Riddle, and that originally you had questions about why he didn't keep going straight to going north, that he turned around and went south.
Yes.
That's what I'm directing your attention to.
Yes.
And at some point, you decided that that wasn't an issue. South was the way to go because we'd heard the shooting incident from Officer Pugh. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So there's no issue with going south on Central Landing, correct?
Correct.
Because at that point, it's not going away from a scene, it's actually to the shooting scene, northwest corner. Is that correct?
Yes. By going around the park. Yes.
After you received information, you only did 2 follow-up interviews. Is that correct?
There was 2 follow-up interviews that I did in this investigation.
And that's Officer Keir.
Officer Tier and Officer Byrd.
And Officer Keir, it's because you wanted to ask her about some statements in relation to Officer Byrd,
Yes.
not about her route. And then Officer Byrd, you talked about the routes.
Yes.
Why didn't you re-interview Watkins?
I didn't feel a need to interview Officer Watkins.
Now, at this point, you've already gotten their interviews, right? You've interviewed Officer Watkins once.
Yes.
And at this point, you've now also pulled all of the GPS data, correct?
Yes.
You've pulled the dash cam, the body cam,
Yes.
including Officer Watkins.
Yes.
Now, isn't it true that in his initial interview, Officer Watkins says, after he saw the people running, almost an hour before the actual shots were fired, that he asked, "Why is everybody running?" And the lady with the dog said, "There's guns up there," correct?
Yes.
He goes on to say, "That's why we looked like, all right, we're going to start going over there." So I think it was Riddle and Pugh started making their way through the traffic. Now, you went on to ask him further information. He said, and boom, there's a call that came out, and boom, shots fired, and it's over. Isn't it true that you asked him where he was when the shots fired?
I think I did ask him where he was at, yes.
And he said he was on Oak Street, correct?
Yeah, he was explaining.
This is a yes. He said he was on Oak Street, correct?
That was part of his response. Yes, he was on Oak Street.
He was not on Oak Street, though, was he?
He was at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Therefore, what he told you was untruthful. Did you ask for a follow-up? You
I did not.
said there were other officers who were looked at by the board, right?
Yes.
Officer Watkins is not on that list, is he?
He is not.
Why is Officer Watkins not on that list?
I did not put him on a list that I turned in. Matter of fact, I put no deficiencies noted. I did not correlate at that time that Oak Street or Buffalo Wild Wings was a lie. In your line of questioning, it certainly makes it appear that way. All of the information I had besides my write-up, I gave to command staff.
I'm going to move
Everyone-
on because I have other questions as well.
Sure.
I appreciate that. Now, you wrote a report, is that correct? Okay.
I would ask that Counselor Byrd allow the witness to answer the question. He has consistently said, "Let me explain to you," and she has cut him off. She's the one asking the questions. Allow him to provide the answer. If he doesn't give her the information that she wants, then she can follow up, but he's trying to answer her questions and she keeps cutting him off.
We're going to disagree that that's not how it works. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. If I ask a question that is a yes or no, then he needs to answer yes or no, or I can direct him or ask the court to direct him to answer the question. If he wants to explain it, that's what she's for. So I would like to continue if I might.
Yes, you may continue.
Thank you. Officer, you prepared a report, correct?
Yes.
It included what you asserted were factual statements or facts about your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that on there, you put that on Sunday, April 13th at 1740, a fact about Major Presley contacting Lieutenant Matthews?
Is it 1740?
Yes, sir. It's on your timeline.
That's what I'm trying to refer to.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But you didn't interview Major Presley, correct?
I did not.
You didn't even ask permission of the chief to interview Major Presley. Is that correct?
I did not.
You did not ask Lieutenant Matthews whether or not he had any conversation with Major Presley, correct?
I don't recall.
Where do you think that statement, where did that fact that you put in your timeline come from?
I don't know.
Officer, prior to April 13, 2025, you've worked with Officer Byrd, correct?
Yes,
You don't like Officer Byrd.
I wouldn't state that.
Most people don't go around saying, I don't like somebody. But you have, haven't you?
No, we had a good relationship for a long time at the police department, and it wasn't until I became the watch commander on C team is when it seemed to change.
Isn't it true that Major Leewood witnessed you, in his mind, in a questionable manner in the way you treated Officer Byrd in an interview? And he wrote an email and requested an AI investigation into your conduct with Officer Byrd.
Yes,
Isn't it true that you've told other officers you wouldn't even go to a Christmas party if she was present?
yes,
And you were aware at the time that you ran this AI that there is a federal lawsuit going on with some of the staff at Conway Police Department, correct?
yes.
That's the witness.
Lieutenant Kennedy, I want to go through a number of issues with you that Counselor Byrd touched on with you. You had spoken earlier in your testimony about Officer Kyers, Officer Murray, and Officer Smith, and that they had driven at a high rate of speed that night and had not used lights and sirens. Is that correct?
Yes,
Ultimately, each of those individual officers did use full lights and sirens. Is that correct?
yes,
And it was only a small portion of their response when they were not using lights and sirens. Is that correct?
yes,
Talk about Officer Lopez. Officer Lopez was also an officer who did not respond full Code 3. Is that correct?
yes,
Officer Lopez, he's a rookie. Is that correct?
yes.
At the time of the shooting, how long had he been out of the academy?
I don't know. He'd been with us, I think, less than a year, I believe.
And Officer Byrd, at the time of the shooting, was an approximately 10-year officer. Is that correct?
Yes,
You were questioned about GPS location data and the fact that you do not have GPS location data for Officer Riddle. You do not have that, correct?
I do not.
When you requested that data from dispatch, you requested data for all of the officers who responded. Is that correct?
Yes, all active units that night.
And sometimes, I think your testimony is that sometimes the GPS data just doesn't exist for a particular officer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that might be because the unit's, for lack of a better word, modem might be offline for the GPS. Any number of reasons could result in dispatch not having that data, correct?
Yes,
And dispatch did not provide you with that data for Riddle, correct?
correct,
And so based on what we talked about, it would seem that that data just doesn't exist. Is that right?
correct.
You tried to get it and it wasn't there, correct?
Yes,
Talk about Officer Watkins and what he said related to the woman who told him that there were firearms there. I think your testimony was that before the mass shooting, I think it was about 45 minutes before, there are people who are running. Is that correct?
yes,
And Officer Watkins says in his interview that a woman who was crossing the street who had a dog stated they had guns up there. Is that right?
yes,
Officer Watkins then stated that Officer Riddle and Officer Pugh went over there to investigate that. Is that correct?
yes,
Riddle went over there, observed for about 10 to 15 minutes, and didn't see any guns, correct?
Yeah, I believe he said 15 to 20 minutes, and he described backing into an area between two structures or some sort of overhangs or
I
something.
think it was backed into a driveway and then
Yes.
observed for that amount of time, correct?
Yes,
Didn't see any firearms, right?
correct.
So that information that Watkins had, Riddle, Pugh went to the location, looked at it, said, we don't see anything, right?
Yes,
That was looked into, correct?
yes,
Counselor Byrd talked to you about Miss Byrd not being advised that she was a subject of the AI, is that correct?
yes,
You ultimately did advise her of that, correct?
yes,
In fact, you sent her an email and said you are a subject of this investigation, correct?
I did.
Talk about Sergeant Sweet. Counselor Byrd was talking to you about your, as she described it, a failure to interview him. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Part of the purpose of this investigation, as you stated, was looking into what happened on Friday night, what happened on Saturday night, because we know there were some gatherings those nights, correct?
yes,
Sergeant Sweet was not involved with those, correct?
right. There were several officers that had no doings with Saturday or Sunday before the shooting, and I didn't interview several of them, like Officer Case, Officer Hill. He's not the only one.
In addition to that, through your investigation, you had reviewed tons of dash cams and body cams, right?
Yes,
Looked at park surveillance, right?
yes,
Reviewed documents of incident reports or documents related to the radio calls, in addition to hearing the actual radio calls, correct?
yes,
And in fact, you had Sergeant Sweet's dash cam and body cam, right?
yes,
And based on that, because you had his dash cam and body cam, you knew what route he took, right?
I did.
You knew how he responded, correct?
Yes,
You knew if he had lights and sirens, right?
yes,
As opposed to Miss Byrd, who we couldn't tell because you didn't have her dash cam, right?
yes,
You didn't have her body cam, correct?
correct.
And you know when you review that dash cam and body cam that he was responding full code 3, correct?
Yes,
And responding expeditiously, correct?
yes,
Since Counselor Byrd has gotten into it, I'll get into it as well. Let's talk about the gathering before the shots were fired.
yes,
During your investigation, you interviewed a number of officers who were on that day shift, correct?
yes,
Who did have interactions with the people at the park, correct?
that's correct.
One of the officers that you interviewed was Officer Kellen Bland, is that right?
Yes,
And he was present at the park that afternoon, correct?
yes, he said he spot checked Fifth Ave.
Officer Bland's not here to testify, it's not being called, and by the commission's own rules, this isn't it's a hearsay objection, but by the commission's rules is you can't put others, exhibits in unless the person's here to testify.
So my response to that is this. Mr. Newcomb and I agreed, and we put in our stipulations that we would not play an interview of an individual unless that individual was available to be cross-examined. Officer Bland, available to be cross-examined, first. Second, I'm not playing his interview. What I'm asking is what Lieutenant Kennedy got from his interview, and it's not hearsay because it shows the basis of why Lieutenant Kennedy took certain steps in his investigation, right? I'm not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted. It is showing why Lieutenant Kennedy took certain steps, made certain conclusions during his investigation. Now, certainly, if I was going to put up that interview, then I'd say, Mr. Newcomb, you are welcome to bring Officer Bland in here to be cross-examined. I'm happy to do it, but I'm not playing the interview. So I would ask that I be allowed to proceed.
Objection overruled.
So Officer Bland, you interviewed him, right?
Yes,
And he was out at the park portions of the afternoon, is that correct?
yes,
And he was out there, part of that is officer presence that you do at large gatherings, correct?
yes,
That's so people see officers present, know that there is law enforcement there, correct?
yes,
He was out there also telling people not to park on the grass, is that correct?
yes,
And he stated during his interview that he did not see any alcohol, drugs, or firearms while he was out there. Is that correct?
Correct. He stated that he did a walkthrough, no weapons or alcohol. He did smell slight marijuana.
Yeah, I think he said he smelled light marijuana but couldn't locate the source. Is that correct?
Correct.
In fact, Officer Bland said that the people out there were, I'm going to quote him, very respectful. Is that correct?
Yes.
He said that it, quote unquote, seemed peaceful. Is that correct?
Yes.
You also interviewed an Officer Rachel Keir. Is that correct?
Yes.
She was a day shift officer. Is that correct?
Yes.
And she was out there that afternoon. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when I say out there, I want to make it clear. She was out at Fifth Avenue Park, correct?
Yes.
She was out there as officer presence. Is that correct?
Yes.
She was out there to tell people not to park on the grass. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I think she stated that she talked to some of the people out there. Is that correct?
Yeah. She described the crowd as polite. She also smelled marijuana but saw no weapons. And she responded to one loitering call at 4:41 p.m.
Those people that she interacted with, what'd you say she said? They were polite?
Yes.
Did she also say they were cordial and cooperative?
Yes.
You spoke with Officer Brandon Short, who was also out there during the day. Is that correct?
Yes.
He was out there late into the afternoon, and he was there for officer presence, correct?
Yes.
He was also out there as the other officers to tell people not to park on the grass, correct?
Yes.
He did not see any alcohol, drugs, or firearms while he was out there, correct?
Correct.
And I think he also described the people he spoke with as respectful, correct?
I wrote peaceful. I don't know about respectful.
That's fine. Counselor Byrd had spoken with you about a call that came in earlier before the mass shooting. And I think there was a call from someone, it was around 4:14 in the afternoon, and I think the caller stated outlaws are shooting guns at the park. Is that correct?
Yes, that was Mike Gosnell.
Officer Short was out there at the same time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Officer Short, when you questioned him about that, he said, I was out there and that was a car backfire, correct?
Yes.
And he, in fact, included in the dispatch notes that that didn't happen, that there were not people, outlaws shooting guns, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I know it's not a normal rule of evidence, but normally when somebody's examining a witness to their own, they don't get to do yes and no questions suggesting an answer. And so in fact, she's testifying, and we've seen many examples of the lieutenant not being able to remember things. So who's giving us facts, her or him? I'd ask that she not use leading questions with her own witness.
I would say that this is redirect. So I'm going back into issues that Counselor Byrd brought up, and that allows me to ask leading questions. And certainly, I think we all are aware that time is an issue for us in this hearing. I'm trying to move us forward. And if Lieutenant Kennedy, and he has told me, I think he corrected me on a couple of things, so he knows the facts. He's not going to answer unless what I'm saying is true.
Objection overruled.
Counselor Byrd spoke with you about additional radio traffic from Officer Byrd. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Byrd radioed in at some point during her route that there were 40 rounds and that there were different types of firearms. Is that right?
Yes.
Based on that radio call she made, she knew there were many, many rounds. Is that correct?
Yes.
She knew there were different firearms. Is that correct?
Yes.
Didn't take Fifth Avenue to go up, correct?
Correct.
Didn't take Third, correct?
Correct.
Didn't take Second, correct?
Correct.
Went up first. And what was her average speed again?
25.3 miles per hour.
I'd like to pull up Lieutenant Kennedy, if you don't mind, if you have your computer there.
I'll need the HDMI cable, which is probably plugged into their computer.
If you can pull up the Rock Solid Church surveillance. Actually, I take that back. I'd like to review Officer Riddle's dash cam. And if you can start playing that, Lieutenant, at minute 25:04. Let's watch this. You can stop it there, Lieutenant. And we stopped at minute 25:28 for the record. Counselor Byrd was talking to you about various obstacles that were in front of Officer Byrd when she was leaving the parking lot. Is that right?
Yes,
We just watched Officer Riddle's dash cam. Is that correct?
yes,
There were also obstacles for Officer Riddle. Is that correct?
yes,
There was a tow truck there. Is that correct?
yes,
We also saw a pedestrian. Is that correct?
yes,
We also saw the street vehicle that had the trailer with the barricades, and it's right there in the mouth of that parking lot. Is that right?
yes.
Now, if we can play the Rock Solid Church surveillance. And that's a short video, so we can just watch it in its entirety. Actually, would you mind pausing that, Lieutenant? So at that point, do we see Miss Byrd in her vehicle?
Yes,
That tow truck that was in front of Officer Riddle, is that now gone?
yes,
But we still have that street vehicle there, is that correct?
that's correct.
And we see that there are some pedestrians in the area, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, you can hit play, please. If you can pause. Did we just see that street vehicle pull forward slightly?
yes,
Okay. You've reviewed a lot of videos. You've seen a lot of this area during your investigation. Is that right?
yes,
By pulling forward, not to the right, not to the left, that street vehicle did not narrow the space that Ms. Byrd could get through, correct?
I can't answer that because it's a very hard angle to see from.
That's okay. But you would agree with me that it doesn't go to the right or the left in that opening, correct?
Yes,
It's just pulling forward, correct?
yes,
And we had just seen Officer Riddle get by it, correct?
yes.
Let's stick with this video, and now we're going to focus on the traffic. The traffic when Officer Byrd is coming out. You can hit play. You can pause. So right here, is that Officer Byrd at the entrance to that parking lot entrance/exit?
Yes,
Okay. Now let's pay attention to traffic. If you would hit play. Pause, please. Was that one vehicle that just passed in front of her?
Yes.
Okay, please hit play. Please pause. That was a second vehicle that passed in front of her, is that correct?
Yes.
And was there a break in between those two vehicles?
Yes.
Okay, please hit play. And then we see Officer Byrd pull out, is that correct?
Yes.
You can stop that, Lieutenant. With Conway PD, one of the things that officers are expected to do is to get through traffic when responding to a life-threatening emergency, is that right?
Yes.
One of the ways they can get through traffic, get people to clear, is by using their lights and sirens, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to pull up Officer Riddle's dash cam again, and I'll tell you what timestamp we're going to. We are going to timestamp 2516. You can hit play, please. I know we've watched this over and over again, but I want to point one thing out here. You can hit, will you please pause? He has his lights and sirens on, right?
Yes.
Did we just see a car stop for him to get out?
Yes.
If you'd go back to minute marker 2450. If you can pause and I'll. Counselor Byrd questioned you on whether you could hear the shots being fired in Officer Byrd's dash cam. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You cannot hear it in her dash cam. Is that correct?
Right. I could hear it in Riddle's, but I couldn't hear it in hers.
So hit play. I think that hopefully the volume is at a point where we can hear it, but if you would hit play. Did you hear that?
Yeah. So that's the door unlocking.
So we heard it I'll tell you, we heard it the other day better when I
Yeah.
questioned you on it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get some better sound for us. But have you heard it in watching Riddle's dash cam? Had you heard the gunshots?
Yeah. And no, I don't remember if it was Riddle's or Bird's that I heard it in at the moment. I'd have to go back and watch them both again. But I do remember hearing what I felt was the gunfire coming from one of the interior cabs of one of those vehicles.
We can double check that because we want to get it right. Counselor Byrd went over with you that Officer Byrd had used her body cam, and she had used her body cam when she was encountering someone who was getting their vehicle towed. Is that right?
Yes.
So it shows that Officer Byrd knows how to use her body cam, right?
Yes.
Certainly used it when she was talking to someone about their vehicle being towed, right?
Yes.
But didn't use it when responding to a mass shooting. Is that right?
Correct.
Counselor Byrd reviewed with you what Officer Byrd told you in her interview regarding the gold rims comment. Is that right?
Yes.
Let's just view that. If you can pull up Ms. Byrd's second interview. We are going to go to minute marker 358. You can hit play, please.
All the cars were kind of like spreading out, and the unit running code south and central landing. And right about the time that Hugh said that he had eyes on, or he saw, something with gold rims, that's how the unit running code, pulled out and got behind that unit. I think that he was who had that unit.
You can pause. What did Ms. Bird tell you there in that interview?
That she saw a unit running code southbound on Central Landing. And that right about that time, there was radio traffic from Pew about a vehicle with gold rims. And so she thought that that officer had someone in sight, and so she pulled out and, behind that vehicle.
She stated she thought that other unit was following that vehicle, the gold rims vehicle, correct?
Yes.
You can take that down if you'd like. You ultimately, during her interview, you do play for her the radio traffic of the gold rims. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you play that for her before or after she made that statement?
After.
Did you challenge her on making that statement, indicating to her that the gold rims comment had not come out yet?
I had told her that that couldn't have happened because we hadn't heard that comment over the radio yet.
Council, if we could take a 15-minute break.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lieutenant Counselor Byrd reviewed with you the issue of a victim being in the grass in close proximity to where Miss Byrd was in the parking lot. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah, the east parking lot, right?
Yeah, when Miss Byrd is located in the funeral home parking lot, the church parking lot, and I think in your investigation, you had identified that there was a victim close by. Am I stating that correctly?
Yeah, there was one that laid in there's some grass, a little median that was where Officer Watkins ended up when he arrived.
I think you indicated to Counselor Byrd that you could look at the surveillance footage and determine the time that that victim laid in that area. Is that correct?
Yes,
And when you look at the surveillance footage from the park, were you able to determine that time that the victim laid in the grass?
yes. I think I put it in my notes. It's on the east parking lot camera at 7:47 and 5 seconds.
That victim lays in the grass at 7:47:05. And what time does Miss Byrd leave the parking lot of the funeral home and the church?
It was a few seconds before that. There's a time conversion you have to do again because the camera's off by 58 minutes and 5 seconds from what would be the church video and the dash cam. So it's a couple of seconds prior to that when Officer Byrd pulled out of the church parking lot.
So that victim was laying in that area close in time to when Miss Byrd went south, correct?
Yes.
Counselor Byrd spoke to you about the two sergeants who approached you about Miss Byrd's response. Is that correct?
Yes.
And those sergeants, as I understand it, said more than just look at Byrd. They said officers are concerned about her response. Is that correct?
The response route, yes.
And that's what then led you to start looking deeper into her response route. Is that right?
Yes.
And Byrd was not the only one that you reviewed response routes, correct?
Correct.
Counselor Byrd went through with you the body cam footage where Miss Byrd is stating to an officer that she went down Central Landing because she thought Riddle was chasing a suspect. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And Officer Byrd had told you the same thing during your interview, with including the gold rims as well, correct?
Yes.
And you believe that to be an untruthful statement, correct?
Yes.
Just to be clear on this issue, Officer Riddle also went south, is that correct?
Yes.
But Officer Riddle told you that the reason he went south is because Pugh said he had a victim over at 5th and Vine, which is the other side of the park, right?
Yes.
And then Officer Riddle went expeditiously, full lights and sirens, to go to the other side of that park, correct?
Yes.
Brittany Byrd never told you that she went south to go to a victim on the other side, correct?
Not that I recall.
I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as Respondent's Exhibit 7. And can you tell us again, Lieutenant Kennedy, what Respondent's Exhibit 7 is?
It's a policy for emergency operation of departmental vehicles.
Is that policy number 800-5?
It is.
Counselor Byrd questioned you on this policy and seemed to indicate, without giving you the policy, that there was some discretion to what officers did with their vehicles. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look, if we can, at page 2 of that policy. Can you read for me, under levels of response, the Code 3 response?
Code 3, emergency, a call for service where a life-threatening emergency currently exists. Officers responding Code 3 shall respond expeditiously to the location of the emergency by the most direct means, using all emergency equipment with a paramount consideration for the safety of the public and the assigned officers. Officers should remain alert to traffic and pedestrians, using common sense when responding to calls that require speeds that exceed the posted limits. In no event shall officers operate the vehicle in a reckless manner.
And Counselor Byrd had pointed out to you earlier in an ordinance the word shall, and y'all discussed that word, did you not?
Yes,
And that word demonstrates that what it's telling you to do is mandatory, correct?
yes,
And this, Code 3 emergency, responding to a life-threatening emergency, officers shall respond expeditiously, correct?
yes,
Officers shall use all emergency equipment, correct?
yes,
That does not provide discretion in responding expeditiously and using lights and sirens, correct?
correct.
Counselor Byrd reviewed with you the GPS data. Do you remember that extensive back and forth with Counselor Byrd?
Yes,
And she questioned you extensively on whether that data had been manipulated, correct?
yes,
You did not manipulate that data, correct?
I did not.
Are you aware of anyone manipulating that data?
I'm not aware of anyone.
When we look at that, what she's referring to are these Google routes, and you can see for Ms. Bird's that the timing is in Central Standard Time. Is that correct?
Yes, one of the videos is in Central Standard Time, the rest are in UTC time.
So that one Bird's video, Central Standard Time, and then you have the other Google Earth images that are in UCT time. Is that correct?
Yes,
And that's universal time. Is that right?
yes,
Regardless of whether the setting is Central Standard Time or UTC time, they are both showing the same time period, right?
yes, to clarify that, I guess just to make this easier,
Sure.
if they didn't, then you wouldn't have two officers in the same parking lot that show each other at those times. That couldn't exist. If it was altered and that was actually 2-something in the afternoon, none of those cameras would even show this event. This is just common sense.
And it's also common sense because for the officers who used their dash cam, you were able to see their routes, right?
Yes,
You were able to see their routes at the time they were going on those routes, right?
yes,
And that matches up to the Google Earth data that you received, right?
yes,
Counselor Byrd mentioned a lawsuit that Ms. Byrd had filed against members of Conway Police Department. Do you remember that?
I do.
You are not a defendant in that lawsuit, correct?
Correct.
Through this investigation, were you targeting Ms. Byrd?
No,
In fact, you only looked further into Ms. Byrd because of the sergeants coming to you and saying there were concerns with her route, correct?
that's correct.
That is the only reason you started to look into her route, correct?
Yes,
Had nothing to do with any animosity that you might have for her, correct?
no, I actually had no intention on looking into anyone's route until that point.
Just one moment. No more questions.
Lieutenant 800-5, emergency operation of department vehicles. You guys read some parts, but let's look at emergency response.
I'm just going to bring something to the commission's attention, and it's generally, this is my witness, I question the witness, she cross-examines, and then I get to do redirect. If we start volleying back and forth, these witnesses will be here all day. Generally, in court, that's the way it goes. I question, she cross-examines, then I redirect, and then we are done with the witness. It is absolutely up to the commission if y'all want to allow us to volley back and forth after that, but that will keep us here longer, and generally, that's not how it's conducted.
I have 3 questions, but however the court wants to decide.
I think that under the circumstances, we probably don't need to have any more back and forth, so.
Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me I'm short. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. Thank you. Your Honor, in which case I think we're done with this witness for today, or at least in terms of right now. However, he's still under subpoena for my side as well, so I'd ask that he stay under the rule.
I understand.
I apologize, I have a lot of stuff up here.
Am I free to go back to the police department, or do you want me to remain here in this building? Okay, thank you.
Is the commission ready to proceed forward?
Yes.
We'll call Assistant Chief of Police Mike Welsh.
Okay, the next witness is Mr. Mike Wells. Mr. Wells, be advised that you are under oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
For the record, tell the commission your name.
Mike Welsh.
You're the Assistant Chief of Police for the Conway Police Department, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Assistant Chief of Police Mike Welsh is a bit of a mouthful for me. You and I met for the first time last week, is that correct?
Yes,
Are you okay with me calling you Mike?
absolutely.
Mike, how long have you been Assistant Chief of Police?
Since March of this year.
What are your duties and responsibilities as Assistant Chief of Police?
I act as an advisor to the Chief of Police,
And that is Chief Chris Harris?
Chris Harris.
And he is your immediate supervisor?
Yes, sir.
That's who you answer to in the department?
Yes, sir.
Got it. How long have you been with the Conway Police Department?
I've been with the Conway Police Department for 29 years, but this is year 34 of my career.
34 years in law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
Have you gone through the ranks at Conway Police Department from
From patrol-
officer all the way up to next to
Officer
top?
to my current position, yes, sir.
Mike, based on what's happened here in the past day and a half, I'm going to ask you 2 or 3 very specific questions, and then we're going to go into the administrative inquiry, all right?
Yes, sir.
Do the events of Friday night, April 11th, Saturday night, April 12th, have anything to do with whether or not Byrd committed 6 department policy violations in her response to the mass shooting on April 13th?
No, they don't.
Does obtaining a permit to rent the pavilions at Fifth Avenue Park have anything to do, any relevance whatsoever, to whether Byrd committed 6 policy violations that warranted termination?
No, they do not.
Mike, the relevant time frame in this case is from the moment Byrd exits the funeral home parking lot till her arrival at Fifth Avenue Park. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you've seen all the video in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've seen Byrd's video in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've seen, once she's finally at Fifth Avenue Park, you see her tending to victims, correct?
Yes.
You see her engaged in crowd control, correct?
Yes, sir.
Assume all of that was appropriate, okay?
Yes.
Regardless of that conduct after she's arrived on the scene, is it your opinion that she nevertheless committed 6 policy violations that warranted her termination?
Absolutely.
Like, let's move on. Administrative inquiry. We call it the AI, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, following this mass shooting at Fifth Avenue Park on April 13th, was an internal investigation initiated?
It was, as protocol.
And is that separate from the criminal investigation to figure out who the shooters are and get them prosecuted?
Yes.
This is an internal investigation, am I right?
Yes.
Who was named the lead of the administrative inquiry investigation?
Lieutenant Tom Kennedy.
Why was Lieutenant Kennedy chosen?
Lieutenant Kennedy, as I'm sure you've seen, is an excellent investigator. He has years of experience as an investigator, narcotics and CID. He is more familiar with what happened that night, and he would be the best choice to do the investigation. He would have the most knowledge, the most understanding of what happened, and because of his skill set, he was an excellent choice.
Not his first designation as the investigator of an AI?
Correct.
Got it. What did you understand to be the scope at the origination of this investigation? What did you understand to be the scope of the AI?
To see generally things that we did correct, if there was anything that we needed to improve on. Again, it's a standard thing that you should do in any type of critical incident.
In other words, the scope of this investigation was broad, correct?
Very broad, yes.
To figure out, what did we do right, what did we do wrong as an agency? Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At some point, did you understand that the investigation became more focused on certain officers?
It did.
Tell us that story.
Chief contacted me and asked me about Officer Bird's response
Mhm.
to the incident. I wasn't aware of any kind of concern, and he asked me to look into it.
How far into the investigation do you recollect we are at this point when Chief Harris comes to you?
I looked at her body camera footage.
Mhm.
I looked at the dash cam footage. I saw that she was across the street. Cars were being towed. She was on the scene. So I at that point in time, I didn't understand what any specific problem may be.
Mhm.
So I didn't see any, and I let him know that.
You were simply asked to look a little bit deeper into this,
Yes.
and you did.
Yes.
You reviewed Bird's body and dash cam.
Yes.
Anything else?
Not at that time.
And at that point, what did you conclude in that initial review?
I just didn't see anything wrong. She was there. She was helping people. She was across the street. I mean, there was action that was being taken. So
So at that point, I'm gathering you have not reviewed any video regarding her initial response from leaving the funeral home parking lot to her arrival at Fifth Avenue.
I didn't pay any attention to the time frame. I
Mhm.
just my thought was maybe she had not responded, but that was not the case. She eventually did. So again, at that point in time, that early, I did not see anything wrong.
You were reviewing her tending to the victims and doing crowd control,
Yes.
and you found that was all fine.
Yes.
Did you communicate to that to the chief?
Yes, sir.
Did something happen then later to draw the attention back to, we need to look at officers' initial response to the crime scene?
Well, it wasn't, I can't tell how long after that, but then, I was informed there were, as Lieutenant Kennedy said, grumblings. Some officers started talking about specifically her response to the incident, to this mass shooting.
General information that's just going around the PD, is that fair?
I had not heard it,
Mhm.
but that was information that he had received. And so, additional inquiry would be needed.
Yeah, and am I right in saying then curiosity is now getting piqued? Let's
Yes.
look at officers' response and their response time.
Yes, sir.
Did you attend a vigil for the victims of this
I
case?
did.
Tell-
Myself, the chief, Major Presley, Officer Byrd was there.
What happened?
So at the vigil, there were a lot of people there. There were family members that were there, people that attended the party, and they started talking individually about how they felt. They're stating, things about how they felt. But during that, a few people mentioned they were actually upset, stating that they were very upset with the police department because the officers that were there left, drove away, abandoned them. And I thought, man, I didn't believe that. I'm like, no, that's not how we do things. I was taken aback by that. I didn't believe it.
Does that then focus the investigation on specific officers' response times to the mass shooting?
Yes, sir.
Was Byrd the only officers that was investigated whose response was investigated?
Officer Riddle was included in that as well.
An allegation that's arisen over the past day and a half is that Byrd got targeted, that she was the target of an investigation at its inception. Is that true or not?
No, sir, that's absolutely false.
Tell the commission your thoughts on that.
I mean, I don't have any reason to target anybody. I mean, my job is to make sure that everybody at the police department knows how to do their job and do it well and support them in any way that I can. Whether I get along with somebody or don't get along with somebody, whether they like me or not, I don't care. My job is to make sure the police department is at its best and that every officer has the opportunity to rise and be the best that they can. So I don't target anybody. That's not my job.
Your opinion, a fair and honorable investigation of the entire department
Correct.
becomes focused because questions are arisen about how long it took officers to get to the worst mass shooting in Conway history.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Next topic, the review board. Tell us what the review board is.
So whenever there's an internal investigation, or whenever there's an investigation that could lead to a suspension, demotion, or termination, a review board is convened. That consists of the chief, myself, the three majors, the investigating officer, or actually investigating supervisor, and the officer who is in the focus of their immediate supervisor. And we review the file and make recommendations to the chief.
So who all sat on this review board specifically?
Obviously, the chief, myself, Major Presley, Major Lee Wood, Major Clay Smith, Sergeant Philip Sweet, and then Lieutenant Kennedy was there as the investigating officer.
Lieutenant Kennedy is the investigator. Everybody but Sergeant Sweet are command staff level, is that right?
With the exception of Lieutenant Kennedy, yes.
Other than the investigator. Why was Sergeant Sweet involved in the review board?
At the time, he was the supervisor over Riddle and Byrd.
And so you want the person who's the supervisor, the people that are being investigated, the personnel that are being looked at, you want their immediate supervisor on that review board.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Review board met June 26th, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mike, tell the commission the process that the review board utilizes in this meeting. Describe what's happening.
Well, after everybody's had the opportunity to review all the material that's provided by the investigator, we sit down and we discuss it. And after discussion, the chief will ask each individual member of the review board, do you see this as are there any issues? And if they are they a training issue? If not, are they a policy issue? And we'll discuss that. And if not, is that an officer issue? And so we discuss those, and then at the end of that discussion, we make the recommendations. If any disciplinary action, we make recommendations to the chief.
So let's go back in time from before the review board meets, okay? When the investigation begins, what's the process that leads up to the sitting of the review board?
So the assigned investigator will do interviews, gather information, whatever that may be, video, reports, whatever is necessary. They will do that investigation, complete those tasks, and then hand them over to if it's not the OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility, that investigator will give that information to the OPR. It will be uploaded onto the server, and that will allow all of us we can sit in our office and we can privately review the information. And that's the case here.
So Lieutenant Kennedy conducts the investigation. He's essentially the cop for the review board. Is that fair enough?
Yes, sir.
He does his independent investigation, and he uploads his investigative file to the police department server, correct?
The OPR, yes.
About how long do you remember it taking from the initiation of the AI to Lieutenant Kennedy's conclusion and the uploading of the file?
I couldn't guess. There were a lot of people involved in the interviews, so I can't. I mean, it would have to be at minimum several days, but I cannot give you an accurate time frame how long that took.
Understood. Ultimately, do you independently review Kennedy's investigative file?
I did.
How long approximately did it take you to review it?
Several days.
A lot of information?
A lot of information, a lot of interviews, a lot of videos.
We've seen a lot of body cam.
Yes, sir.
We've seen a lot of dash cam.
Yes, sir.
We've seen GPS data.
Yes, sir.
Was that all contained in the investigative file?
Yes.
And each review board member, did he sit down and independently review that wealth of information?
That is their job. Yes.
Got it. Let's talk about it took you several days to wade through all of this material, correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell us, what were your initial conclusions, your own independent conclusions before going to the review board?
Well, I had two thoughts here. One was the performance, the very unsatisfactory performance by Officer Byrd, her response. And the second one was for me, it was just the obvious insubordination shown by Officer Byrd towards Lieutenant Kennedy during the interview process.
So let me make sure I'm understanding. Your own review, you made initial conclusions, correct?
Yes.
1, unsatisfactory performance.
Yes.
2, insubordination.
Yes.
I'm going to hand you what we've already introduced as our Exhibit 6. I'm going to show you the rules of conduct for Conway Police Department, okay?
Okay.
And Mike, let's look at, if the commission has Exhibit 6 in front of them, let's look at unsatisfactory performance policy. This is policy 600-3.24. It'll be contained on page 14 of this exhibit. Do you have it?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with this policy?
Yes, sir.
And let's parse through it. There's a lot of words here, but let's get straight to the heart of it. Unsatisfactory performance may be demonstrated by an unwillingness or inability to perform assigned tasks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The failure to conform to work standards established for the employee's rank, grade, or position. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The failure to take appropriate action on the occasion of the crime.
Yes, sir.
That's the policy.
Yes.
Got it. Let's look at insubordination, which is 600-1.4 on page 4.
I'm there.
You familiar with the insubordination policy?
Yes, sir.
Does it state, and is this correct, displaying contempt for the authority of supervisors by showing obvious disrespect or by disputing their orders shall likewise be deemed insubordination. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Might tell the commission for these two, your initial conclusions of unsatisfactory performance and insubordination, what did you base those initial conclusions on?
Well, the biggest and most obvious thing for me on the unsatisfactory performance is the failure of her to use her emergency equipment in responding. Well, actually, the first thing that drew my attention was not going directly to threat. That should have been the first response, going immediately to the threat. You just heard dozens of gunshots across the street. You saw people, hundreds of people running, and you did not go directly to the threat as you should have done. It's a dangerous job, but that's the job. Next, in the response of eventually getting to the park, there's no emergency equipment used at all. Other officers are using blue lights and siren, driving very quickly, and her response is very slow. She is across the street. She is practically on the scene, and there are several officers much further away than she was that beat her to the scene. To me, that's extremely unsatisfactory. The insubordination. When you watch the interview with Lieutenant Kennedy, she is argumentative. She is disrespectful. She will make comments like, she doesn't want, I've already answered those questions. You can see the look on her face, the rolling of her eyes. You know, send it up to them. Let them make the decision. It is not the type of behavior that an officer should have with with a supervisor. Again, there's no rule here that says you have to like that person, but you do have to respect the rank in which they hold, and you do have to show respect to your fellow officers, to your coworkers. That was not the case here.
Go back to unsatisfactory performance. Respond directly to the threat. What do you mean?
If a shooting took place outside those front doors, my job would be to go outside those doors and handle that threat.
It's not to wait for the posse to assemble and go out. It's for each individual officer to respond directly to a life-threatening event, correct?
Yes.
Was this a life-threatening event, needless to say?
2 people died in this and 9 other people were shot. This is absolutely a life-threatening situation.
If ultimately the crime scene, if the entirety of Fifth Avenue Park is considered the crime scene, were Byrd and Riddle, in fairness, literally across the street?
Literally across the street.
Could they have run to the scene?
Absolutely.
Chose to get in their vehicles, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Not running to the scene, did that give you heartburn?
Yes, that was the first disappointment right there. Why didn't you, being that close, run and go directly to threat?
Insubordination. Had Byrd been written up for insubordination before?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
2 years ago, her dog was sick. It was taken offline because it had heartworms. I consulted with the sergeant, the canine sergeant, Matt Edgman, who's a lot more knowledgeable about dogs than me. I also consulted with the police department's veterinarian, Dr. Stone, and with their help, I told Brittany Byrd that the dog could not ride in the vehicle with her while it was being treated for heartworms, and that while her dog is offline, when she reports to work, and I told her, you can drive your canine assigned vehicle to and from work, because you may, and bring the dog, Leo, with her and leave it at the police department. If while you're working, you need to take Leo to the vet for any follow-ups, you would have your special vehicle there that could handle the transport of the dog. But if that's not taken place, you can't function in a canine duties. I want you to drive a regular patrol car and then go out and handle calls as every other officer would. She questioned me about that, but I told her that was my decision. I went away. I went to Pennsylvania. I went to my uncle's funeral. When I came back, I had to conduct a follow-up interview with her on another matter. This was on a Sunday. And I noticed that when she arrived at the police department to come talk to me, she was driving her canine vehicle, the very vehicle that I told her, until otherwise instructed by me, you cannot drive during working hours. When I talked to her, I asked her if she had had the dog in her vehicle with her while I was gone. And she said yes. Again, those were 2 direct orders. Put the dog in your car. Don't drive your car on regular duty hours. Go fetch a pool car. Go out, answer calls, just like everybody else. And the main, well, that was the order. She defied both of those. And I wrote her a Form 219, which is a very low disciplinary action. Wrote her for insubordination for directly defying those orders.
219 is a reprimand, is that correct?
Very low level reprimand.
Let me show you what I marked as Exhibit 12. Is this the 219 that you wrote up on Bird?
Yes.
This is your actual 219 report?
I'm sorry, turn on the mic now. This 219 that he wants to introduce, I thought we were supposed to be getting everything before last week, and I don't believe this was disclosed until this morning.
It's hardly a surprise to Officer
No,
Bird.
it's not a question of surprise, sir. It's a question of whether you follow the rules and they're enforced. It says if it's not disclosed, it can't be introduced.
It's hardly a surprise to Officer Bird that she has been disciplined for insubordination before. This does not come as a surprise to her.
Whether, like I said, if we don't have to follow the rules, that's fine. But just tell me we don't have to follow the rules. All I'm asking, they didn't give it. They're not denying they didn't give it as a potential exhibit. And to introduce it, we tried this whole thing. A federal judge has looked at this. This is part of her sex discrimination case. So are we now opening all that to a trial before this board? That's what we're doing.
Since it has not been introduced before, I don't think that it can be introduced, so will not be allowed, so sustained.
Understood. Mike, keep your 219 in front of you. It will help refresh your recollection of these events.
He hasn't shown yet that he has a memory problem. Is he admitting his client can't remember anything?
Look at the document, Mike. Do you remember? Your concern was that Leo the canine had heartworms that weren't being tended to, correct?
My concern was.
Objection that he's using the exhibit. If he's going to use the exhibit to refresh his memory, there's certain foundational ones he knows as a lawyer. We've tried cases with and against each other that you have to show the witness doesn't remember without having his memory refreshed. So are they saying that his memories, he doesn't have a memory of it?
Mike, put it aside, okay? Have you put proposed Exhibit 12
Both
aside?
exhibits are right here.
Have you turned it upside down?
They're upside down. I have nothing in front of me but this mic.
You're not looking at it?
Not looking at it.
Was this issue about Leo's heartworms?
This issue was about Leo's heartworms, him being offline, and her not following my order as to what car to drive and to not have him in the vehicle.
How many times did she disobey your direct order to take Leo offline and don't get in that canine unit with Leo?
It was a few times.
How many? If you don't remember, you can refresh your memory by looking at the document.
Am I going to be able to do that without objection?
We'll see. It's to refresh memory, which under the rules of evidence and the rules of disclosure are
Well,
proper.
no, the rules of evidence don't apply. As your co-counsel has repeatedly said along with me, the rules of this commission say it can't be introduced or used if it hasn't been disclosed, and they admit they didn't disclose it.
Well, is it introduced or used? Anything, literally anything can be used to refresh a witness's memory. We are not introducing Exhibit 12, so it's not being introduced. But literally anything can be used to refresh a witness's memory.
The more we go down it, the longer we're going to be here. So I defer to the length of time.
And so, Mike, my ultimate question is, did you conclude that Byrd displayed contempt for the authority of supervisors by showing obvious disrespect or disputing their orders?
Yes.
And those are your orders.
Yes, sir.
So insubordination was not a new concept to Byrd, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Go back to, we're back where we started with your initial conclusions having reviewed Kennedy's file, okay? Prior to review board meeting.
Yes,
Okay. You've independently determined, I'm seeing at least unsatisfactory performance, is that correct?
yes, sir.
And insubordination, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that insubordination is based on her second interview with Lieutenant Kennedy, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Insubordination, in your opinion, was unsatisfactory performance. Was unsatisfactory performance alone, in your estimation, sufficient cause to warrant her termination?
Absolutely. The other things they're minor compared to the fact that she took the route that she did in the time that she did, not using any equipment, not having urgency as everybody else did. No urgency to get there to this mass shooting.
Failure to urgently go directly to the threat, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's what police officers are trained to do, am I right?
Yes, sir.
And that's for the protection of the community, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the review board meeting now. I believe it was conducted on June 26th of this year, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You gave the committee already a sort of brief description of how a review board meeting goes. To recap, y'all are sitting at a conference room table at the police department, is that right?
The chief's conference room just outside his office.
Okay, you've reviewed the personnel that are members of the review board in this case,
Yes.
right? You said earlier, the chief begins with two fundamental questions. Is there a problem with our policies? That is, are they vague or ambiguous? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Second, have we failed to properly train this officer? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so, Mike, that sounds like the meeting begins giving the officer the benefit of the doubt. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Are you saying the first thing we do is, before we accuse a fellow officer of violating one of our policies, let's first look at our policy. Is it vague? Right?
Correct.
Is it ambiguous? Right?
Correct.
Is this something that a reasonable officer couldn't comprehend?
Correct.
Did you guys determine that all 6 of those policies were clear,
Yes, sir.
easily understood?
Yes, sir.
Officers are trained in these policies, correct?
Yes, sir.
Second issue, you're looking now internally at yourselves before you're even getting to the officer and asking everyone in there, is this problem a failure on our part to train the officer?
Correct.
All right, giving the officer the benefit of every doubt, right?
Yes, sir.
What did the review board conclude on those 2 fundamental issues? Is there a policy problem? Is there a problem with our training?
Nobody brought up any issues they had with training or our policies.
Once that process is complete, what happened next? What happens next?
Well, again, we discuss now what we saw in the videos, what we read in reports, all of the information available to us. We state any issues that we found and discuss those. And then at the conclusion of that discussion, we give our recommendation. And this one, we give a recommendation for all 6 of the violations to the chief.
Chief's at the head of the table, is that right?
Yes.
Chief is conducting the review board meeting, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And he's gathering information from each of the review board members, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, coming into that meeting, you had already independently concluded termination warranted for Byrd based on unsatisfactory performance and insubordination, is that right?
I certainly found the unsatisfactory performance.
Warranted
And I-
termination.
Yes,
Right.
and the truthfulness. I'm sorry, the insubordination.
Right.
Yes,
Those are your conclusions coming into the meeting.
yes,
Now, Chief is going around the room and soliciting everybody's views and opinions, correct?
Now, I will say, like the termination part, I still take other people's thoughts in that process. So going in there, I felt like there are 2 violations there.
That's your starting point.
That's my starting point.
The roundtable discussion occurs, right?
Yes.
Did the discussion among you, other officers, review board members, did it persuade you that Byrd had committed other policy violations?
Yes.
Did it persuade you that Byrd violated the conduct unbecoming of police department personnel policy?
Yes.
Let's look at that. And this will be on page 4 of Exhibit 6. You see conduct unbecoming police department personnel.
Yes, sir.
Does it state in relevant part, conduct unbecoming shall include that which brings discredit upon the operation or efficiency of the department or member? If I stated that correctly,
Yes, sir.
that's what the policy is?
Yes, sir.
What persuaded you that Byrd violated the conduct unbecoming police department personnel?
In reviewing the case file, this actually didn't come to mind. My original thoughts were the unsatisfactory performance and the insubordination. Those were the things that stuck out to me. But as we're discussing this, as we always do, this was brought up. And then I immediately thought back to the vigil that I attended where family members and somebody else, I think that they were just a person who participated there at the party, were talking about their disappointment and their aggravation about the police department officers driving away when this happened. That clearly right there brings discredit upon the police department. So for that reason, I thought this was a clear violation.
And that vigil was attended by the public. Is that right?
Yes.
And in public, people are discussing officers have driven away from a crime scene.
Yes.
You concluded that brought disrespect onto your department.
That disrespect or that discredit, yes.
And as a result of that, that was your conclusion. And now another vote for another policy violation on Byrd's part, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did the continuing discussion with the other review board members cause you to conclude that Byrd violated the truthfulness policy?
Yes.
Let's look at it. It's on page 7. The rules of conduct. You there?
Yes, sir.
Truthfulness. Upon the order of the chief's designee or a superior officer / leader, members shall truthfully answer all questions specifically directed and narrowly related to the scope of employment and operations of the department, which may be asked of them. Why did you then conclude that Byrd violated the truthfulness policy?
Well, going back and looking at the interview, she mentions that she thought that the car in front of her, the patrol vehicle that was traveling southbound, that turned out to be Officer Riddle, was chasing a suspect, and specifically a car with gold rims. Well, that can't have happened because that information didn't come out until a minute later. So I caught that during my original review of this, but the significance really hadn't hit me then. Not saying we didn't know where the area of concern was. Well, later, Sergeant Sweet walks up and says, "Does anybody know where this started?" And they said, "Right here." So that information was not correct. So in taking the totality of everything here, the slow response and giving a false information, it only means one thing: she's lying.
The discussion, continued discussion at the review panel also persuades you that Byrd had violated the policy on emergency operations of department vehicles. You already said that it had, correct?
Yes.
And let's look at that, Mike. Yeah, look at page 2.
On
It
there.
begins levels of response at the top. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Code 1, Code 2, Code 3. You see Code 3?
Yes, sir.
Emergency.
Yes, sir.
Let's read it. A call for service where a life-threatening emergency currently exists. Officers responding Code 3 shall respond expeditiously to the location of the emergency by the most direct means, using all emergency equipment with a paramount consideration for the safety of the public and the assigned officers. Officers should remain alert to traffic and pedestrian using common sense when responding to calls that require speeds that exceed the posted limits. In no event shall officers operate the vehicle in a reckless manner. What are the facts that you found to conclude that Byrd violated the emergency vehicle operations policy?
Now, the only time that her emergency equipment, any emergency equipment was utilized is as she approached the park, when she got to the park. Was not using her blue lights. She was actually hitting her siren, kind of using it as a horn, just I call it, popping her horn to get people's attention, to get them out of the way. It is that action right there. It is that action right there that triggered the cameras to turn on.
Counsel, excuse me, could you get a little bit closer to the mic, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Continue on, Mike.
So until that time, until she was half a block away or one short block away from the park, she didn't use any of her emergency equipment. When she exited the parking lot of the Roller McNutt and turned left, what blue lights that she had on, which were a separate system, those were turned off, and no other lights or siren were used until she got to 5th and Maple, just a block away. And then again, she still didn't use any lights. She just was hitting that horn to get people out of the way. So that entire distance that she drove up to that point right there, no emergency equipment right there. And it clearly says that you shall. And where a life-threatening emergency exists, again, 2 people died, 9 other people were shot. That is absolutely a life-threatening emergency.
Did Byrd ever activate, did she ever go Code 3?
No, sir, she did not.
Check. Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Byrd's location is here, is that correct? In the funeral home parking lot? It's going to be here.
She starts here. This is the funeral home parking lot right here.
Yeah. Like, what are cruise lights?
She and maybe one other, I'm not sure if Canine Officer Tanner Williams has them on his vehicle, just an extra set of blue lights. It is my understanding that they were provided to the police department. Nobody else has them. When you watch the videos, if you see her in the parking lot, you'll see lights underneath and on the side that are blue lights. Those are not the standard blue lights that every other police car with the Conway Police Department marked unit has.
Those are not Code 3 lights.
Correct. They're
Those
not
lights and sirens.
correct.
Got it. From the exit of the funeral home, she takes a left south on the central landing. Is that correct?
Yes, traveling south here and then west on 6th Street.
Mhm.
eventually making her way Maple Street, and it was in this area right here that she starts hitting her siren to get people out of the way. So this entire distance that she traveled, all the way around to First Avenue and weaving around here, no lights, no siren, no emergency equipment response.
The entirety of going south on Central Landing, no code 3, correct?
Correct.
Now she's down 6th Street, correct?
Correct.
Is it does she go, in fact, dark? It's on 6th Street?
Well, so while she's in the parking lot, the cruise lights are on. But when she turns south on Central Landing, she turns them off. So now she has not even those.
She's dark.
Correct.
Lights and sirens are important because they help clear traffic out of the way, correct?
Yes, sir.
To be able to respond to directly respond to a life-threatening event, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she does just the opposite. She goes dark.
Correct.
Remains dark until where?
Somewhere in, right around here on the corner. Now, because there is a 30-second loop, that camera is always recording. Well, as soon as you turn it on, the recording actually goes back 30 seconds. So when she turned it on, we were actually able to capture her coming through this part of, through this intersection right here. So she didn't hit it until she got to this area, but because of that 30-second loop, the video actually starts recording from back here at the beginning of this green line.
It was important for her to respond code 3.
We have multiple shots fired. We have people running. She saw it. She called it in.
She called in multiple shots fired.
Yes.
She not only doesn't go code 3, but turns dark. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that a policy violation?
Yes, sir.
Did that warrant termination?
Yes, sir.
Let's look at the final one. Body-worn camera. There was a policy violation on the body-worn camera. It's a separate policy. We've introduced it as Exhibit 8. It's number 800-55. I'll show it to you. You're familiar with the policy?
Yes, sir.
Give us the short version. It's fairly long. Give us the short version.
The body camera is a tool to use to gather information, gather evidence, and records our contact specifically during crimes or interactions and where we are likely to arrest somebody or investigate a crime. We turn them on.
And are those called enforcement-related contacts?
Yes, sir.
Got it. So you're to activate your body cam for enforcement-related contacts, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And enforcement-related contacts include, quote, critical incidents, is that
Yes, sir.
right? What does page 2 under critical incidents say?
An incident in which an officer or officers observe and or are involved in involved in potentially life-threatening circumstances or when serious physical injury occurs.
Did the investigation conclude that Bird originally had her body cam on?
She did when she was approached by somebody in the parking lot.
Some guy whose car was being towed?
Yes, sir.
That's when she activates her body cam, correct?
She did for that contact.
She ultimately deactivates it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does she ever reactivate her body camera in response to a mass shooting?
The camera would come on when she is almost on scene and she starts hitting her siren.
Right there up at the top, correct?
Yes.
And it comes on because she blows her horn, correct?
Yes.
So that's what activated it, right?
Yes, sir.
By blowing her horn?
Yes, sir.
Mike, at the conclusion of the meeting, what was your vote on the 6 policy violations that were alleged?
My recommendation to the chief was termination.
Were other officers, their response investigated as part of this AI?
Yes.
Who and what did the board determine?
Before Sergeant Sweet, he would only be involved in Bird and Riddles. So there was discussion about, did we find any other violations? And there were none.
Yeah, so work through that process with us, Mike. So Sergeant Sweet was the direct commanding officer of actually Pugh, Riddle, and Bird, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. He comes in as a board member when the discussion turns to Bird, Riddle, Pugh. Is that right?
Yes.
So he's not there at the beginning of the board meeting. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yes, sir.
Because it didn't involve his officers that worked under him.
Correct.
Okay. What was that part of the review board meeting about before Sergeant Sweet comes in?
There was discussion if we saw any training, policy, or officer involved, or officer issues that might require some type of disciplinary action, and we didn't find anybody. As a group, we did not find any issues.
Got it.
Yes. Go ahead.
Now move forward. The discussion turns to Bird, Riddle, Pugh, possibly Autumn Smith.
Yes, sir.
That's when Sergeant Sweet comes into the review board meeting. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What's the was the discussion limited to Bird's actions or inactions?
No, it was mostly Bird and Riddle. Pugh and Autumn, I don't remember having a deep discussion or a long discussion about them because they didn't drive the other way.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Because they didn't drive the other way.
Got it. They were less experienced. I'll specifically point out Pugh and Riddle. They were less experienced than Bird. Is that correct?
Yes.
Both Pugh and Riddle were rookies. Is that right?
Yes.
How much experience did Bird have?
She's been with the police department 10 years.
Mike, is more expected from seasoned, experienced officers than rookies?
Absolutely.
And was that discussed within the review board meeting when everyone was discussed? Bird, Riddle, Pugh?
Yes.
Ultimately, do all board members conclude that Bird committed 6 department policy violations?
All but one.
Who was the one?
Major Lee Wood.
Tell us so to visualize, Chief is going down the list. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Gets to Wood. What happens?
Well, at one point in time, he asked if he was still thinking about it and wanted to, could he pass? So Chief passed, and we were going through other violations, and it came back again to him. We went through several. Well, I would say the lesser ones. Everything other than the unsatisfactory performance. That was the biggest one. That was the biggest issue. And he didn't at that point in time. He answered. I don't think there was any violation. I wish he had turned on the lights, but he made that comment, but he didn't feel like there was any violation there. But everybody else had already given the recommendations of termination on all 6, and so there was only one person left. That was Major Wood. And now comes time. What's your recommendation about if there was a violation, and if so, what would be the recommendation for disciplinary action for unsatisfactory performance? I will say right now, in my 57 and a half years on Earth, I have never seen a more awkward silence in my life.
Mr. Wood's gonna be here. We got witnesses that are wanting to leave town. We're plowing ground. We're gonna be here for a week. But there's not even two of their witnesses that
Well, I think in fairness to everyone, we need to hear evidence from all the people involved, so.
Wood himself is gonna be, his speculation, conjecture, but call Mr. Wood and ask him what he said, instead of asking the assistant chief to speculate and report what it was. He's already shown he can't remember everything.
This is not speculation. This is Assistant Chief's observations and direct observations of what is happening in this review board meeting. May I continue?
Yes.
All right, I want to take a step back. We have 6 people in the review board meeting. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Chief's conducting it, right?
Yes, sir.
But he's the one that's soliciting everyone's views. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that leaves 5 voting board members. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
All right. 4 all conclude Byrd has committed not 1, not 2, but 6 policy violations, correct?
Yes, sir.
You have 1 sole dissenter, right?
Yes.
And that's Major Wood.
Yes.
Why is Major Wood on the review board?
Because he's a major. He's part of the command staff, and that's one of our responsibilities.
He's command staff. So Chief goes down the list, gets to Major Wood. You say, what happened? He passed on the first go-around?
He passed once, asked to come back.
Were all 6 allegations offered up to him?
I'm sorry, say it again.
By that time, had all 6 policies been addressed?
They had all been discussed.
And it's time for his views, time for him to vote, and he passes?
Yes.
Continue on with the story. What happens? You'd mentioned that it was 57 years of experience.
I'm
Most-
57 and a half. Never seen such an awkward silence.
Describe it for us.
It's his turn. Terminating somebody is never an easy job. Ever. Regardless of any friendship, relationship, whatever you have. It's never easy. It's his turn. You need to provide a recommendation. And we sat there. And we sat there. And we sat there. Eventually, it may have been Sergeant Sweet, since he was the closest one to him, says, hey, we're waiting on you. And he said, just give me a second, I'm thinking. He's still thinking. And eventually I turned to my right, I'm sitting next to Chief Harris, and he says, if you want to go, if you want to step outside, go ahead. And I said, no, I'm staying. And the silence continues. And then eventually the chief, it wasn't a question anymore, it was an order. Everybody out. Everybody leave the room. Everybody got up except Major Wood, and we did so without hesitation, and we left the room.
Does Major Wood come to your office after this, after the meeting is adjourned?
After he stays and visits with Chief Harris, and then he comes to my office.
What happens in your office?
Well, he came in. He was carrying some things. He set him down on the table. He closes the door, and he looks at me, and it looked like he had tears in his eyes. His eyes were red. Looked like he was about to cry. And he apologized to me for what had happened, and then explained to me that he was having difficulty with that decision because he was concerned about the relationship between his wife, Wendy, and her friend and boss, Angie Byrd.
All right, explain that a little bit more. Let's back up. But for Major Wood, it was unanimous, the unanimous conclusion, but for Wood, that Byrd had committed 6 policy violations, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that termination was the correct and warranted decision.
Yes, sir.
All right, but for Wood. Wood visits you in your office afterwards. You
Yes, sir.
describe that. You come to find out and you know that Wood has some personal relationship to Byrd's family.
Yes.
What's that personal relationship?
His wife is an assistant to Angie Byrd, Brittany's mom, stepmom.
Based on that knowledge, did you infer that Major Wood's hesitation and refusal really to participate was that based on a personal reason?
Yes.
Was that a violation of his duty?
It's his duty. Again, that is the job. Police officers have a very difficult job. People don't call us. They don't call 911 because they're having a great day. It's a dangerous job. That is the job. We have to carry guns because there are violent people out there. That is the job. As part of the command staff, some of the things that you have to do are to make recommendations for disciplinary actions of other officers, regardless of who they are and what connection you may have to them.
Personal relationships have no business in doing your duty. Is that a fair statement?
It's supposed to be.
Major Presley, review board member,
Yes.
you know this?
Yes, sir.
Considers Byrd a coworker friend, someone he likes a lot. You're aware of this?
He's told me that several times.
Are you aware, did you understand that it was a tough decision for him to make based on his personal relationship with Byrd?
Why don't we let Major Presley testify himself? We're spending time where we're gonna go over the same hearsay, which is in this actual person, so. Edit.
And we will hear from Major Presley.
Okay, well then, on this point here, objection sustained.
Understood. Let me read something to you that I consider to be an allegation that the respondents, the Byrd team, are making against you. This comes from petitioner's response to respondents' motion in limine to exclude witnesses and evidence regarding certain topics, a pleading that was filed in this case previously. Let me read this to you and tell the commission what you think about this. It's alleged Chief Harris, Assistant Chief Welsh, Major Clay Smith have been named in a federal lawsuit by Byrd for whistleblower, retaliation, and employment issues since 2023. Upon convening the review board, Major Lee Wood gave his opinion that Officer Byrd had violated no policies and should not be disciplined. Chief Harris cleared the room, except for Wood, and told him he'd give him the weekend to think about it and change his mind. Important sentence. Upon holding his ground, Major Wood was given a negative job performance evaluation by Assistant Chief Welsh. You and I have talked about this allegation that these folks are making against you, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell the commission your response.
It's ridiculous. First of all, at the time of the review board, myself, Major Clay Smith, Chief Harris, and Lieutenant Andrew Birmingham had already been given summary judgment and were no longer involved in the lawsuit.
Never mind, I'll let him lie and we'll deal with it.
I'll just tell you, disregard that comment. Go ahead.
He was given a negative performance because I'd already explained to you that he came in and said he was concerned about the relationship between his wife and Angie Byrd, her boss. That was one of 3 excuses he gave. But the review that I did of him, the evaluation, was based on his performances. I gave him exceed standards in one category, his maintenance of the equipment. He's in charge of the police department, the building, the vehicles, and he has done an excellent job. And he is the best person qualified in the police department for that category, for that job duty. Everything else was that he was meeting standards. He received needs improvement in two categories. One was relationship with employees, and another one was for leadership skills. The reason was not for the allegation that Brittany Bird is making. Again, that is absolutely ridiculous. As I explained to him, there had already been some issues between a few officers in that he is the direct supervisor over. And to the point, these officers absolutely would not talk to each other unless it was just necessary. And it was creating a problem inside that unit. It is his job to resolve that problem, or at least get them to the point where they are not causing a problem with efficiency in that unit. So that was part of it, and that's mentioned in his evaluation. And then again, I explained to him, you have a very difficult job, which is to make recommendations about disciplinary action against employees. The Conway Police Department, we all know each other. Many of us have known each other for years. It is not easy to do that. I have recommended termination for people that I know and were good friends with before. Nobody likes it, but it has to be done. He was compromised. I let him know he was letting his personal relationships interfere with the duties that come with that position. Therefore, I put needs improvement for that category.
And so contrary to this side's position, the job performance evaluation that you conducted on Major Wood, it was part of your duty. You had to do it.
Yes, sir.
It was the mid-year evaluation.
Yes, sir.
You had the job to perform an evaluation of Major Wood, correct?
Yes, sir.
And gave him pretty decent grades, but came to leadership skills, and that involves his conduct in the review board meeting and after. Is that right?
And his not being able to handle the turmoil between the other officers within his unit.
And so this performance evaluation, while actually fairly balanced, is it your testimony to this commission that in no way was that retaliatory against Wood?
It was not retaliatory. No, sir.
Can I ask a question? Can you read that statement again from their allegation?
The performance.
Of what their allegation?
Sure. And Commissioner, this comes from, it's that pleading that was filed.
Mm-hmm.
We had the motion in limine about everything that happened Friday and Saturday. It just is irrelevant to this.
Read what you just, about Lee Wood, why he received, or Major Wood, why he received, their allegation of why he received, would you say an unsatisfactory?
And tell me if this is where you want me to go. The very last sentence of that paragraph reads, upon holding his ground, Major Wood was given a negative job performance evaluation by Assistant Chief Welsh. Do you want me to read the whole paragraph?
No, that's fine. Is that an overall evaluation, or is that just like one mark, like needs improvement?
I can introduce it. We've got copies. We don't have copies? I don't know. What do you guys want to do? I've got it here in my hand.
I think Assistant Chief Wells can answer that question that he's directing.
Is that an overall?
There was two categories that I said needs improvement in his overall, because he reached two categories of 8. I also said his overall rating was needs improvement.
Okay. So it wasn't negative, it just needs improvement.
Correct.
And so tell me if this is correct, looking at it. There are what? 8 categories of the evaluation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Quality of work, you found meet standards, correct?
Yes.
Time and attendance meet standards, correct?
Yes.
Knowledge, measuring the officer's knowledge of the laws, rules, regulations, meet standards, correct?
Yes.
Relationship with fellow employees, measures the employee's performance in communicating, interacting, cooperating with fellow employees, needs improvement.
Yes.
Got it. Relationship with public, meets standards, correct?
Yes.
Leadership skills, needs improvement.
Yes.
That's a direct reference to the review board, correct?
It's,
The incident in the review board meeting.
again, his leadership is, both of them have to do with both incidents. His failure to resolve the situation between two employees and his being compromised personally and not being able to do his job and make a recommendation at the review board.
Understood. Category 7, maintenance of equipment exceeds standards.
Yes.
And in fact, you wrote next to it, Major Wood oversees the biggest and most expensive pieces of equipment used by the police department. This is his strongest category.
Yes.
Final category 8 is attitude, motivation, meets standards.
Yes.
Got it. 1 second, if you don't mind. I'll pass the witness. Thank you all.
Counsel, if I could, we need to take an hour break for lunch now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and come back at 1 o'clock then.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.